1 minute. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to this board meeting tonight on the redistricting of Wellen Park. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Connor.
Thank you. Board members and community, I want to thank you for being here tonight. Tonight is our public hearing, our final public hearing, which we are bringing forward the final recommendation for the attendance boundaries that is tied to the opening of our newest high school, Wellen Park, which will open in August of 2026. This has been a pretty deliberate and transparent process with several meetings that have taken place. It has been shaped by the data. It has been shaped by stakeholder input over those various meetings. But I want to make sure we're clear that there is no action being taken tonight. That will come on Tuesday, September 16th, when we approve the official boundaries. And tonight is all about hearing from our constituents in the last of our public hearings tonight. So the timelines of the meetings that have occurred over the past year has been a series of workshops, advisory sessions with community and advisory committee sessions. Each of those gave steps and opportunities to analyze the data, share different scenarios, listen to the feedback, and now we come to the culmination of that timeline where the Boundary Advisory Committee's final recommendation will be heard for the final time. The data basically shows, when you look at current high school capacity of Northport and Venice High School, that there is definite need for a rebalancing. These schools are already exceeding or nearing their capacity, and without a boundary adjustment, the projected growth just will continue to put a strain on these two schools. When you look at the current high school capacity as of this year's enrollment, you can see that that trend is continuing to stay strong and the need persists even as we look at current enrollment trends. So the Boundary Advisory Committee rated several scenarios, and through that process had 3 basic scenarios that were presented, and then 3 additional scenarios that were created by the advisory through suggestions and advice of the members of that. And so as a result, the final ratings, and as you can see here, the lowest rating actually is the most feasible. We came to scenario D, and that is what you see on the screen here. And so through that recommendation, a series of additional meetings were presented to the community to make sure that we had heard about all their considerations and all of the feedback related to that. Scenario D really does distribute enrollment across Wellen Park, Northport, and Venice High Schools. It addresses those students who are currently attending Lemon Bay and Charlotte County and bringing them back into Sarasota County schools, and does create a balanced enrollment and maximizes the opportunities for students in the area to attend Wellen Park. So, as we know, boundary adjustments are never an easy process, but I do feel that the team had done a really good job of making the recommendations, hearing from our constituents. The families and the staff were heard that are directly impacted by this, but we have now come to the point where scenario D truly does represent the best of all of those things related to data input and planning. So that is what our hearing is on tonight. So at this time, Board Chair, you can move to the next section.
Thank you, Superintendent Connor. Now we will move to the public comment. So each speaker will state their name, and you will have up to 3 minutes. A timer will appear on the screen. Please conclude promptly when the timer ends. The mic will automatically turn off when the timer reaches 0. Any person that interferes with the orderly process of this meeting will first be warned, and then if it continues, it could result in removal. So as a reminder, a recording cannot be played during your 3 minutes of public comment. We appreciate your cooperation, and we will begin with our first speaker.
Thank you, Chair. The first speaker is Jody Osceola, followed by Mary Compton.
Wait, it's almost green.
Oh, okay, thank you. Good evening, board members and Superintendent Connor and all the families that have come out. I appreciate your time and explanations today and have reformed my question that I did put in for public comment. We have addressed the concerns that Wilkinson is closing, and I understand that's not on tonight's meeting, but I won't be here for the Wilkinson meeting, so I would like to get this out openly. My name is Jordana Osceola, but most of you know me as Jody. I stand here as a proud parent and a Wilkinson Wildcat advocate because Wilkinson Elementary School is not only our school, but it's a cornerstone of our community. Wilkinson is a nationally certified STEAM program. It's the only nationally certified STEAM program in the state of Florida, not just Sarasota. We also host the Fall Festival, the Winter Wonderland. We have a food drive where we reach out to all of our community members. The school is the heart of our community. It's led in the start of the Everglades Literacy Program. So we have a lot of amazing things that contribute to making our school a wonderful place. I understand that this was first discussed back in June, and I asked on Wednesday, which is why I'm bringing this up again now, if we could have some clarity and transparency as a concerned mom for our staff and our family members, if this is a possibility. And now we know that this is. With that being said, there are other parents here tonight, and we would like to know if the timeline can be clarified as far as if we will get a say, if you will come out and see us, when that will happen. And the future of Wilkinson deserves a chance. We don't want our kids split up by the district. We understand the need to utilize all of our schools and protect our public schools, because that's where our kids, that's where I'm a Sarasota County School Board graduate or school graduate. I'm a Booker girl, class of 99. And I just would like the same for my children. We love our school, we love our staff, and anything that we can do to encourage options from parents, staff, and community would be greatly appreciated. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Compton and Avery Cole.
Mary Compton, and I'm here also to speak about the possibility of closing Wilkinson School. The Wilkinson community was never officially brought into the decision-making of closing the school. The Sarasota community at large, including taxpayers, were also kept in the dark. I just heard about it during the workshop, and I ran over, put dinner on the back burner, and I came over to tell you. The future surveys that were mentioned during the workshop should have been done before formulating any plan. That's when you bring in the people's opinion, not when you have the plan already done. The citizens of Sarasota County never had the opportunity to study or offer alternatives to the heartless decision to close a beloved neighborhood school. Wilkinson Elementary is an example of what a public school can be. Even though 80% of their students are on free or reduced lunch, and yet because of their dedicated staff, they enjoyed being one of the first nationally accredited STEAM schools in the state of Florida. And I want you to ask yourself, think of the location. Imagine if they were allowed and supported to follow on this trajectory and develop partnerships with the Fab Lab or maybe Polytech. Imagine the opportunity for those children. So I ask, why have the members of this board decided without process to shutter the doors of Wilkinson Elementary? And I ask, is the wasteful decision serving our students and our community? And finally, I ask, when do we elevate rather than dismantle? Lift up rather than tear down? I urge you to reconsider Wilkinson Elementary with care and love. Let it realize its full potential. Thank you.
Thank you.
Avery Cole and Michelle Ballantyne.
Good evening. My name is Avery Cole. I'm speaking about the redistricting of Wellen Park High School to Wellen Park High School. I was very saddened to learn about the plan to redistrict students from Venice High School and Northport High School. While I have never dealt with redistricting, I know that students and parents who have had to deal with redistricting to the K through 8 Sky Ranch School, or parents who have fear about Wilkinson being closed. I've heard of some students who want to move to Wellen Park and some who don't. So I ask you that you ask the students and the parents if their child wants to be moved. And remember that school choice does exist. The students, parents, and staff are a resource. I encourage you to reach out to them again and again and again and get their opinion on this proposal before your final decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle, followed by Joanna Davis.
My name is Michelle Ballantyne. I have 2 children at Venice High, a junior and a freshman. When Wellen Park opens, my son will be grandfathered as a senior, but my daughter will be zoned to Wellen Park under all current scenarios. This will split our family. I'll have 2 kids at 2 different schools, both in marching band, playing at different football games on Friday nights. How do I support both my children when I can only be in one place at one time? My only choices are applying for school choice, which has no guarantee since Venice High's capacity must stay under 90%, or selling our home to move into the new Venice High zone, forcing us into a smaller, more expensive house with higher mortgage rates. If my daughter goes to Wellen Park, it also adds time to my work commute to downtown Sarasota, sending me in the opposite direction. Dr. Kemp claims to be empathetic to our situation, but I've watched him speak at every meeting with his eyes closed. He can't even look us in the eye. This clearly shows that this district's concern is more about filling this new $200 million school than understanding our community's pain. River Road is already dangerous with heavy traffic and ongoing construction. This will be made worse with school traffic comprised of buses and inexperienced teenage drivers. There are no streetlights on a large stretch of River Road near the school entrance. There's no traffic light at the intersection currently. What safety measures will be installed before opening? It's been said at the community meetings that 10th and 11th graders who've declared IB will be grandfathered if Wellen Park isn't yet accredited. But what about current freshmen taking pre-IB classes who can't declare until the end of 10th grade? Will they also be grandfathered? Venice High School has tradition, pride, and established relationships. Our band program under Mr. Wang has grown to 155 students this year, the largest in school history. You'll be destroying that. For the first time, our band is even larger than Riverview. You can build a $200 million school with the best technology and staff it with qualified people, but you can't instantly create the community bonds that make Venice High special. Legacy families have stayed in Venice specifically so their children could attend Venice High. It's just different here isn't just a tagline, it's a way of life for us in Venice. My requests are the following. Please consider grandfathering siblings so families aren't split and parents don't face the stress of uncertain school choice application process. Please consider a phased enrollment. Let current Venice High students zoned for Wellen Park choose to stay at Venice High or transfer, while new students in grades 10 through 12 and incoming freshmen go to Wellen Park High School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joanna Davis, and I'm the proud parent of a junior and a freshman at Venice High School. I'm here tonight to urge the board to reconsider the options for redistricting of all upperclassmen to include both juniors and seniors at Venice High School. As the parent of a rising senior, I am elated that my son will be able to stay with his peers and graduate with his friends. But why not include the juniors? Through no fault of their own, they have been dismissed and will be suddenly starting over in new programs at a new school with new friends their last 2 years of high school. I know you all have this. This is business. It's not personal mentality, but these are children we're talking about. Children who live in a close-knit community, who have grown up together playing football and attending YMCA summer camps. Kids that fish and go to the pier and go to cotillions together. Several may choose to start over and attend Wellen Park, but please reconsider allowing the class of 2028 the option to stay at VHS along with the seniors. Additionally, please also consider families who have the unfortunate hand dealt of having an underclassman and a senior that will essentially cause families to have their senior remain at Venice High School while their freshman, sophomore, or junior siblings are redistricted for Wellen Park. We do know that they can choice in, but it has been made very clear that there are no guarantees to keep families together. Could you imagine the stress of having two children at two different high schools on the opposite side of town? Lastly, River Road is a death trap. Our neighborhood is located off of it, and my child refuses to drive on it because it is scary. It's poorly lit, especially south of 41, and we're asking hundreds of high schoolers to take this road to school. The DOT currently has no plans to refurbish that portion of River Road, and the north portion of River is set for completion in late 2027. What a scary mess of traffic this is going to be. Please make reconsiderations to allowing upperclassmen and families to stick together for their duration at VHS.
Thank you.
Olivia Garahan.
Hello, I am a freshman at Venice High, and that sentence alone probably just made you disregard anything I'm about to say. I currently go to Venice High because it is one of the best schools in Sarasota County. Well, it is. And it's one of the best schools in Florida in general. As you know, our football team has the highest recruiters in the state of Florida. We get the most recruiters from colleges and many places around the state of Florida. I believe that students should have the right to school choice. As someone who has fought with this district about their schools in the way that they do absolutely nothing since 2021, I have been fortunate enough to attend Venice High. I may not live in the rich part of Venice, Florida, or I may not have access to go to Venice High anymore due to these new lines that they're making. And I understand the overcapacity that we currently have at Venice High, but every student deserves school choice. Personally, I want to go to Venice High because they have the IB program, they have AP programs. How long is that going to take for Wellen Park to have those programs? And I live even further from it, but I'm zoned for Wellen Park High. I live closer to Venice High than I do Wellen Park High, and the safety on River Road, as we all know, it is not a great place to drive, as many people will be able to drive next year who currently attend Venice High. I currently want to continue my education at Venice High because I have been homeschooled for 8th and so right now I'm really shaking, so I'm sorry if this is bad running. I've gone to 8th grade. I went to SLA for 6th and 7th grade, but then I left due to this administration right here, this school board, telling everybody about. Oh my God, I'm gonna just take that off. But yeah, Venice High has been an amazing school. I know these concerns are really heavy on you and how you have to redistrict everything because we have an overcapacity at our school and all that things. But Wellen Park High doesn't have any of the accredited programs that we do at Venice High. Venice High looks good when we apply to colleges. Wellen Park High won't. It's a new school. They don't have AP. They don't have IB. They don't have any of these amazing teams that we have built in Venice for a very long time. They don't have any of that. So think about students like me who personally want to go to good colleges if that is something that they're interested in. As someone who is in the pre-IB program, who will be being able to choose if I want to go to IB in 10th grade, I should be able to have that choice. Wellen Park most likely won't have those by then. They most likely won't have those resources and the benefits that we do at at Venice High. Wellen Park does not have all of the things that we do at Venice. Venice is a great school. When people colleges see it, they know.
Thank you, Olivia. Very, very nicely done. Thank you. That concludes our public comment. Mr. Superintendent Connor, would you like to address any of the concerns, especially what's going to be offered at the Wellen Park High School, please?
Yeah, thank you for the feedback, especially around the instructional programming. I know there's been a lot of headway made in terms of ensuring that there's continuity related to those programs. So, Dr. Green, if you don't mind, I know you've been working very closely with the IBO in order to develop that pathway and what that looks like.
Yes, good evening. So we are expecting to receive hopefully a final word from IB. They said mid-September, and we just checked back in with them again last week, and they're still on track with that date. But what we've proposed to IB is a program that would allow our students to complete the IB diploma when they arrive at Wellen Park. So traditionally, when a school adopts or seeks to become an IB accredited school, typically that school is already up and running. And so it's a school with students and teachers and programs, and so IB can come in and do an evaluation and then make that determination. But it usually takes between 2 to 3 years for that to become fully adopted and incorporated into a school. So we're trying to get ahead of that and do that prior to the school opening, which is new. That's not typical for launching an IB program. So what we've proposed to them would be somewhat of a pilot, and that's what we're waiting to hear back on. But IB is the goal. That's what we want to offer, and we have. We feel like we're going to be able to do that, but I can't say without 100% until we hear back from them. But they're great partners with us. As you know, they're at Venice and they're at Riverview, and so they've been just true collaborative partners in this work, so that we do feel very confident that that's going to be able to be offered there, and we're going to be able to maintain the continuity of that program.
In terms of AP courses, that should not be a problem to offer the College Board AP classes.
Yes.
There's not really an authorization in terms of a lengthy process for that as
Correct.
well.
And we have that as part of our plan as well.
There's been some things mentioned around siblings. Millie, did you want to just share a little bit about sibling preference and that portion?
Absolutely. So I know at the meetings prior, this has always come up, and I just want to reiterate again to all the families that we fully understand the stress behind this and the unknown and wanting to keep families together. So in that choice process, there is an option to list if there is a sibling. Those applications will get an additional weighting, so we give them priority. And we know that right now it's a challenge that we can't make any guarantees because we just don't know the numbers until there's a final zone and we have actual enrollment and not projections. But what I can tell you, and I've said before, is that when we just went through this with the last school in opening Sky Ranch, is that immediately, and I do really mean immediately after we ran the lottery and we saw how the numbers fell, we immediately looked at the numbers of siblings on the wait list and were able to offer those all those siblings seats within a day. So our hope is that we will be able to do that again, and our goal will certainly be to keep families together always.
Thank you. And I know there was a question related to juniors, and I want you to know that we're going to be looking at then, just as I said about sibling preference and looking how those numbers are falling, looking at the lottery system, and then taking in consideration these special instances for students who are juniors. The last thing we want to do is decimate any program at Venice. I had the chance just last week to shadow Mr. for an entire day, and I know the power of the 155 students that are in the band. So none of this is lost on this staff. They've worked, I can assure you, they have worked the scenario over and over again to have the least amount of impact as possible. And we do understand that Venice is a special place. It is different there, and that's a good thing. And we want to make sure that we preserve that identity. This is never an easy process. Decisions have to be made, and you may fall on one side or another, depending on where you're at, but all those considerations will be made in the best interest of putting families where they want to be as best as we can.
Thank you. Also, the safety on River Road and around the school, do we have any information or anything from the county?
So we have been working with the developers of Wellen Park, and they are currently building out Sarasota Beach Road to River Road. In our last conversation with them, there will be a full intersection, lighted intersection at Sarasota Beach Road and River Road that they will be installing to have in place before school starts. And in the opposite direction, just recently, the county approved the extension of Sarasota Beach Road in a public-private partnership to extend west to 776. We have been in contact with the developers on that as well, and they are hoping for to get that pushed forward in order to, again, have in place before the opening of school in August of 2026.
Thank you. Okay, any board members? I know Mrs. Ziegler.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who came and spoke. And to the young lady, you did fantastic. It is very difficult to come and do public speaking, so you nailed it if it's your first time, so congrats. I wanted to speak on the piece, Mrs. Wheeler, I know you talked about siblings, and I want to reiterate, I know at a previous workshop, we discussed this as well to the members of the community there and how important that is. One additional item that we talked about was outreach, because there is a certain window to request that reassignment or choice, and that there would be reach to the families that would be impacted. Can you speak to that? And the reason I want this to be highlighted is one more step to ensure we are walking our families through this, because I can imagine with with all the variety of things when you're raising kids, that those windows, we want to make sure that you guys are aware of it, your top priority, that you're filling them out so that you're able to even be on that wait. So I don't know if you could speak to that as well.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. That is a very important point. And communication about the school choice window will go out. It goes out every year via social media and newsletters and emails. I mean, we try to really blast that out to all families. We did a huge media push last year, and I'm sure we will again this year. But the best way to advertise is word of mouth. It's with you all and your families and your friends and amongst your communities. That window will open in February. Off the top of my head, I believe the Monday is the 2nd, but it will be the first Monday in February is when the application will open. Because if you don't apply, you won't be on the wait list, and then it is a struggle if you miss the window. And we certainly place in order of the wait list. So please, if that is your will and you want to apply, by all means, apply in February when the application is open. It will be in your Focus Parent Portal. If you have any questions, contact the Office of School Choice. We'll be happy to hold your hand and walk you through that process.
Thank you. Ms. Rose?
Thank you, Ms. Marinelli. I want to thank those that came to speak with great passion this evening. Very much, your feedback's very much appreciated. I have extensive experience with the school choice process and siblings, and the work that they do typically works out. I have faith and hope that it will this time, that we're not splitting siblings. I understand that we have to have concrete numbers and such first, but I do have confidence in that program, and I'm glad that you clarified that piece, that families with siblings will have priority. There's another piece that I would be remiss if I didn't add in, and I want to commend Superintendent Connor for the appointment of Mr. Grossenbacher as principal. I know that the leader of a school creates the culture of that school and the welcoming nature of everyone and the ability for it all to grow as one with a identity. And Mr. Grossenbacher is the person for that job. I had the opportunity to work along with him as administrators in our district, and I can assure you that he is a beloved leader, and we are quite fortunate to have him lead that school. And I have great faith that with the sensitivity of this process and the deep emotions that I would expect to be there, you are in extraordinarily good hands. Thank you.
Mr. Edwards?
So I just want to say that I've been to every meeting, I've listened intently, and I'm very visible. It is my district, although we represent all of us, the entire county, but I know Venice well, and it is different there, and it is special. So it was ultra important to me to really listen to families and listen to the concerns. And so when you hear the superintendent and the staff talk about siblings and juniors, those were immediate concerns of mine as we went through this process. And so I will tell you that without altering a policy, everything from my perspective looks good in terms of what Millie's telling you, in terms of what the superintendent knows, in terms of the concerns that folks have. On the other side, I really will tell you, I also went to visit Mr. Grossenbacher and took a tour of this high school, which I will tell you is absolutely extraordinary and outstanding. I don't even want to begin to tell you about all of the advantages that this school will offer. And I say often in my social media posts, we have and are the best. And this school certainly falls into that category. In terms of athletics and arts, which I know is a huge concern of everyone's, particularly because of the Venice football and Mr. Wing, and all of the great things that happen in Venice. It's going to happen also at Wellen Park. It's just that I know that it's scary. I get it. But I can't tell you enough how amazing the new school is going to be and how careful we will be in terms of keeping siblings and families and school choice and IB. I think the one last thing about IB that you didn't mention is that if for some reason we're not accredited, those folks that are in the program will be able to stay at Venice and complete. Is that correct?
So that was one of the things that we talked about in some of our community meetings, is that we want to honor the work that our kids are doing. And so we recognize that in your 9th and 10th grade year, you're taking those pre-IB courses that lead up to those IB courses that are your assessment classes for the diploma. And so if a student is on track for that, that's part of the proposal that we submitted to IB, because we want to honor that. We don't want your hard work to be thwarted into another program that you've made all this progress and effort towards, and now you have to go in a different direction. So that is the conversation, is that students who, and the specific criteria is what I'm talking about, that was submitted to IB to be recognized in that process. And so that would be our goal, is that if students have made those strides in those courses with their GPA and their credits to be on track to declare as a diploma seeking or a career path student, that they would have the opportunity to remain to finish out what they started.
I just want to finish up also that we spend a lot of time talking about being competitive and getting families back and winning families and the protection of public education. We talk a lot about that. So we have no incentive to disappoint anyone in this process.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Very well said. Mrs. Barker?
Thank you. I wanted to thank you all for coming. I actually went through a similar redistricting process just this past year. My children had been going to Lakeview Elementary, and they were redistricted to the new Sky Ranch School. And it was a scary time for a lot of families and parents. But I will tell you now, being on the other end of it, it has been a real blessing, and I anticipate that this new school will bring that same amount of energy and community to the Wellen Park neighborhood as well. I did want to throw out there, I have received some communication, I think we all have, and then people have come to me individually as well, questioning the Jacaranda West neighborhood and why we are not keeping that whole neighborhood together. Do you think you could talk a little bit about the thought process there?
So one of the major factors that we look at in drawing boundaries are the primary factor that we look at is using major thoroughfares and roadways and waterways. And Jacaranda Boulevard serves as a major roadway that connects US 41 to I-75. So that was used as the part of the western boundary. The neighborhoods within there, they have that major roadway going through. So while I don't want to say it's not a neighborhood, they might all belong to the same HOA but that 4-lane roadway going through it was just the indicating factor, and then trying to keep everything on one side of Jacaranda going straight out from US 41.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Well, if there's no other comments, Mr. Connor, anything final?
No, I want to say thank you to all who came out tonight, and we will officially approve the recommendation at Tuesday's meeting at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for coming. And we tried to address everything here, so we're doing everything that we can for you as families. We do listen, so thank you. So the next regularly scheduled school board meeting is Tuesday, September 16th at 6 o'clock. May I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. May I have a second?
Second.
So moved. So this meeting is adjourned. Oops, sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I figured it. Okay.
Without objection.